I just don't think I can do all of this, a friend of mine recently told her therapist. I'm trying my best to be a good mother and a good wife. I'm working really hard on my job to do my work well. And here I am meeting with you regularly and doing lots of personal growth work. It's just too much. I can't handle it anymore. Her therapist replied, "Well, why don't you do some of it poorly?" "Poorly," my friend quipped to me later as she was telling me the story. Me? Do something poorly? I had never even thought of that. I don't always have to do everything, and I especially don't have to do everything perfectly all of the time. What a concept. I don't know about you, but I can certainly relate to the humor my friend found in her therapist's advice. I easily find myself caught up in our society's drive to be human doings rather than human beings. Logically and rationally, I know I'd rather be a human being, but from time to time, I need a reminder to slow down and enjoy the simple gifts of this life. And that is why I offer you this message today. I offer it as a reminder because we're constantly bombarded with messages that tell us the opposite is true. Through television and billboard advertisements, we're subtly led to believe that if we work harder, we'll earn more money. And if we have more money, we'll be able to buy more stuff and go on vacation more, which will clearly make us happier. Oh, but these promises are conditional in that they are if this, then that. But I've learned over time to be suspicious of anything that guarantees conditional happiness. Conditionality is often a disappointment in disguise. Many of us don't submit to a conditional God, a God that would tell us, if you behave well, then you will spend eternity with me in heaven. Similarly, we don't want to raise children believing they will be loved only if they do certain things and behave in certain ways. We want them to know they are loved all of the time, regardless of what they do. And likewise, the God of my understanding loves me and you and affirms us all and our dignity and worth all of the time, whatever our actions. But conditionality, and especially conditional love and conditional happiness, are ultimately set-ups for letdown. So are the societal messages, if you do more, you will be more successful. And if you possess more, you will be happier. These are only recipes for frustration, sleepless nights, and illness. So we all need a little margin in our lives. Perhaps some of us could use a broad margin to our lives, like that in the reading from our transcendentalist forefather, Henry David Thoreau. Let me explain a little more what I mean by margin. If you opened a book to read it, but the text didn't have any paragraph breaks or margins at all, how would you react? When a friend recently asked me this question, I said I'd probably put the book down. You know, sometimes I think I'm invincible to the point of stubbornness, so I might actually try to read the first few pages. But ultimately, I think my brain would become overwhelmed by trying to process too much data all on one page. I'd probably lose my place time after time and eventually give up and put that book down. I know my brain needs margin to process information. I need even the split second it takes to move my eyes from the end of one line to the beginning of the next. That split second gives my brain time to digest what I've just read so that I can make sense of that which is to come. If you're like me, you need margins both in your books and in your lives. I need downtime to process and integrate what goes on throughout my day. A few minutes here and there to switch gears and make sense of what's already happened so I can be fully open to what might come. Sometimes this happens when I get in the car and drive between appointments, or when I take a few minutes to meditate between one meeting and the next. Downtime is important, but what's also important is considering what I choose to make the text of my life. What I allow to fill up the greatest part of my day and to ultimately become the substance. In his book called Margins, Richard Swenson, a medical doctor, writes of watching his patients schedule the details of their lives nearly to infinitude. Many of their efforts are directed towards responsibilities they think are mandatory, such as taking on one more project at work or joining another committee. Society has convinced them that professional and financial success leads to happiness. Now, of course, we all need some financial success to guarantee our basic needs, such as housing, food, and clothing. And professional success can be satisfying if we're doing what we love and if we know we're making a difference in others' lives. But above having our basic needs met, financial and professional successes alone are not enough. Dr. Swenson's patients are proof. They're often successful, but they show up in his office sick with hypertension, diabetes, heart disease, the list goes on. And many of them self-medicate to escape stress. They drink, gamble, overeat, shop, anything to give them a few moments of adrenaline rush or pleasure to counteract the effects of having overloaded lives. They might have the ability to say they work hard, but they might have the large house or accomplished children, but at the end of the day, they come home sick and tired. Now, I don't mean to suggest that there's anything wrong with success itself. There certainly isn't. But it's when we allow society's dominant definition of success to overwhelm us and to take control of our lives that we must take pause. Pause to consider what really provides true, unconditional happiness. Pause to think on what really leaves us satisfied and contented at the end of the day. It took me 18 long, stressful years to learn I needed to leave some margin in my life. For those 18 years, I believed I had to be everything to everyone all of the time. And I didn't even have children. If I wasn't doing something, I thought I wasn't being. I defined being by doing. I thought I was wasting my gift of life and foregoing my responsibility to others. In fact, often in order to help others and in order to achieve, I sacrificed myself and my own well-being. And my family's values didn't help any. If my family were to have had a conditional formula, it would have been academic success plus great commitment to achievement equals financial well-being and happiness. Academic success plus great commitment to achievement equals financial well-being and happiness. Much of this thinking grew out of our family's commitment to the American dream and my working class roots.